most of the people who had IT skills have benefited because then they were able to use the smartphone or laptops or maybe other apps. If we are able to basically personalize the learning aspect and give a personalized approach to a particular candidate, that would really help.
So today we have with us Mr. Rishikesh Patankar, who has more than 20 years of experience, including stints at national research and development labs, top universities abroad, and Indian Navy. He holds 3 master's degrees in computer science, IT, and NET qualified. He manages large-scale multiple projects in the ICT domain and is working as Chief Operating Officer in CSE e-Governance Services India Limited, a SVP under Ministry of Electronics and IT, looking after education, skill development, and CSC Academy. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Rishikesh.
Thank you.
And just to begin with the conversation, so CSC has been running large-scale projects for the last 5 to 7 years in legal, financial, and digital literacy. But how do you approach the same, and what has changed in the dissemination post-COVID? And since the last mile was already a challenge and now it has already become like a broadened challenge due to COVID. So how are you dealing with that?
As you are aware, CSCs are part of the Digital India program, and in fact, from last 5 to 7 years, as you mentioned, we are implementing large-scale training initiatives like digital literacy. One of the world's largest digital literacy program is being implemented by CSC under Ministry of Electronics and IT. Then financial literacy with various stakeholders, both central government, state government, and various banks as well as state departments as well. And lastly, the legal literacy, which is under Department of Law and Justice, Ministry of Law and Justice. So for all these programs, it is important to basically plan the whole architecture in such a way that we are able to implement the programs as per the targets and as per the time schedule. The most important part is the infra planning. Since common service centers are already present at the ground level, that is at the Gram Panchayat and the village level, it becomes easy for us to actually plan for the infrastructure. Since the projects or the schemes are mostly implemented at the rural parts of the hinterland, it is important that we mobilize the citizens from the local areas, give them access to various services. So, in terms of infrastructure planning, availability of a center at a particular place where we are implementing a training program, say for example at the village level or at the block level or a district level, is most important. The second part is the trained manpower actually. Local resources are important, and we strive to give them a lot of support. So we try to hire the local resources from the local districts and the blocks so that they are aware of the geography and are able to converse in the local language, so that they are helpful for us and also in terms of implementation. Then the third important point is the IT support, which is a key focus area, and we give a lot of importance to IT support. Since the whole CSC system is managed by a single portal called Digital Seva Portal, or in short form DSP. So based on that, a lot of services are put on that Digital Seva Portal. Then we have an internal MIS basically to manage the services, what kind of targets have been given to a particular state or maybe a particular district, which state is doing good, which districts are doing good. So we are able to drill down into the blocks and the gram panchayats and are able to find out where are the leak or missing points and try to improve. Then external dashboards is important because that is the face to the public. The numbers or the statistics basically give information to the stakeholders in terms of the project progress and how we are dealing with the whole scheme. So it is important that we put in real-time numbers. So that is basically the IT part. Then if there are any relevant mobile apps which are there, that is also important because these days, since mobile are being used at the local level and connectivity has also improved, so most of the systems are now working on mobile apps, and then there is a seamless connectivity between the web application. So if there is any data collection in terms of local level, the apps basically help because they work in offline mode and we are able to connect or collect the data as well. Then fourth important point is the training of the resources. Since village level entrepreneurs of the CSC would actually implement the program, so training basically becomes very important. It is important that we provide relevant training to the trainers as well as to the village level entrepreneurs, since they will be facilitating the whole scheme in terms of implementation. So training becomes important. Then we also create a lot of awareness on social media using a lot of creatives and local level awareness campaigns using mobile vans. Many of our VLEs basically use innovative methods in terms of creating awareness as well as advocacy at the local level. They try to get in local MLA or MP or maybe district administration in terms of support. So in fact, all these stakeholders, once they are part of the scheme, basically we are able to plan it in much better way. The right now, since you asked about the challenges which are now faced post COVID, so yes, physical training has hampered, and we are also facing the same issue because most of our projects had contact based training, and since post COVID there is training severely hampered, and we are trying to find out how to deal with it. So in fact, we used a lot of WhatsApp messages, WhatsApp videos, creating small groups at the local level in order to share the training material in local languages. So that actually helped. Then a lot of audio recorded lectures also help, because if we are implementing any training program, then if a trainer basically records the audio, very simple audio, and they just send it on WhatsApp, that becomes an important message, and many people get to know about it and how to deal with it. So then audio books actually is important, because for inclusion, audio books have been used in various projects where we are empowering Divyang persons, but I think a normal person can actually use audio books in order to understand and learn many things. Then in fact, government is also supporting. A lot of channels are now available on Doordarshan, as well as new channels have come at D2H. Some education-based channels have come where live lectures are going on. So students and most of the trainees actually can work and view these lectures as per the schedule. So that will actually help. The important aspect is if we are giving training, then there should be a operating procedure that how we will implement training. So social distancing still needs to be implemented, because if there is a training class happening, so because we need to start training now, because a lot of schemes are now basically behind schedule, and it is important to start training immediately. So some part of some important kind of if we develop some SOPs in terms of training, that would be very helpful. And in terms of other services like banking was always on. In the lockdown also banking was on, so our banking correspondents and facilitators are continuously doing banking work. Insurance is on, so overall financial inclusion services are on. So that is what is my input on. Thank you.
So now, like you mentioned that you're already working with a lot of organizations, the government is running projects, but is there any agency or an institution in particular which you think plays a really crucial role when it comes to working in these hinterlands of India? Like you mentioned, these last mile villages, which do have some projects, but not too many projects, and even the interventions are not that scaled. So which agencies do you think play a crucial role in those sort of areas?
I think most important part at the local level, since if we see the overall Indian geographical structure, there are states and UTs, and if we are implementing any project, so most of the projects are at a district level or block level or Gram Panchayat level. So in fact, India has more than 700 plus districts, 6,500 plus blocks, 2.5 lakh Gram Panchayats, and 6.5 lakh villages. So it is very important that district administration or the block level administration plays an important role, because if you are implementing any government scheme, it is important that you coordinate with the district administration and the block administration. And if you are implementing any other kind of training programs, still it is very important to rope in the district administration, because then a lot of support is generated at the district level. Then if I compare it with common service centers, since it is a part of Digital India program, so we were placed in a strategic way at the gram panchayat level or the village level. That is why we were able to implement such large projects. Then it is important at the gram panchayat level and village level to basically the panchayat raj institutions also play an important role, because that is the government structure at the gram panchayat level. So PRIs are important, and there are a lot of panchayat ghars. In fact, I came to know around 1 lakh plus panchayat ghars where there is infrastructure available, and some kind of, if there is a joint partnership, a lot of projects can be implemented at that level. Then there are a lot of government schools at the local level. Maybe if that can be tied up, because then infrastructure is there, and for pre-primary education, there is Anganwadis who are available. We can take use of them. Or for healthcare also, then there are community health centers and primary health centers. Even ASHA workers are also there at the local level. So some healthcare projects, we can use them. Then local NGOs also play an important role, but they may not be in all the places. But in some specific states or districts, their presence is vital, because wherever they are very strong there. So I think that is an important aspect, and there should be a partnership with the local NGO, because they are working there since long, and they understand the whole scenario at the local level. So that is important. Then for women empowerment and gender budgeting, the self-help groups is also an important aspect, because these women are part of the whole ecosystem, and they are working in a cooperative way. So if we can make use of them, then that would be additional income to that particular SHG, and we can actually bring in more women participation at the ground level. So I think that these stakeholders play a very important role.
And now this was from an institutional point of view, and how there is infrastructure and we just need to tweak it, or probably make a better use of it. But when it comes to, say, individuals, so mobilization of masses, and more importantly youth, for skilling and education programs is a huge task still, and making them even understand the relevance of it is another task altogether. So even if the content in a platform is available free of cost, and yet no one wants to learn, so which calls into question the inherent motivation of a person, which you also mentioned in one of your interviews as the learner's resistance. So how do you think we can overcome this resistance and make learning sort of acceptable for everyone, and internally motivate people to actually go and be a part of these programs?
Yes, this is a very interesting question actually. I also speak to few professors and academicians on this aspect, because one way is we are trying to put something which a student or maybe a learner is not interested in, and the other part, if you see the other side, there are certain students who are motivated themselves. So if you see a classroom also, there are say 30-40 students in a classroom. Each student's interest is different. Some may be at the very basic level, they don't have interest. Some may be experts, they have already gone through the whole content and they understand everything, and some at the middle level. So a teacher or as a faculty who is training a group of say 30-40 students in a classroom, so that teacher has to manage all these kind of minds and brains. So in generally a teacher does in one way only, because a teacher starts with a particular topic and then explains, and maybe tries to find out some interaction is there, and then some question and answers, and that is how the class ends. So, but important aspect over here is how to appreciate the importance of learning. That becomes focus, and there is a general feeling actually that being knowledgeable has no value right now. So, but in recent times, since COVID-19 has come, I think IT skills have benefited. Most of the people who had IT skills, have benefited because then they were able to use the smartphone or laptops or maybe other apps or maybe programs in order to learn something new or maybe get to know new aspects. Many of them actually availed new courses. They enrolled for new courses and did lot of courses which were out of their field also. So many of us have also done that. So you are right that learner resistance is a barrier, but we need to overcome that. In general, also many times when there is IT implemented in a particular department or institution, there is a lot of resistance. But if the overall management is motivated and the employees or employers are motivated, then it goes through. Kind of ERP implementation. If you are bringing in a ERP implementation, similarly, if you compare it with learning, this similar barrier is there. So it is important that you appreciate the importance and usefulness of learning in depth. And then only it can be doable. And I think smartphone is the access device through which we can do it, because we are number 2 in terms of smartphones, as well as many other aspects where India is number 2, just behind China, except the biometric as well as the number of Android app downloads across the world. So I think a lot of learning apps have come in, and that will surely help the candidates or students or trainees in order to learn. We can get a lot of analytics generated out of it and try to mine certain data in order to find out what is the goal of a particular candidate. If we are able to basically personalize the learning aspect and give a personalized approach to a particular candidate, that would really help. So that will actually bring in the motivation factor for that particular candidate. I think that is the way forward.
Great. And since you also mentioned that a lot of students have actually changed their learning paths given the current times, that the IT skills are more required for students. So what other skills do you think the students have gone for right now? And what, according to you, are some of the skill sets that will be required? So say in the urban regions, or also in comparison to the rural regions, in terms of the jobs coming up, or in terms of the vacancies or the skill sets that the industry is asking for right now?
Yes, I think what CSC is concentrating on is entrepreneurship, actually. Entrepreneurship, so it is generally said that entrepreneurs are born, but CSC has reversed that, and we have said entrepreneurs are not born, they are made. So that is the most important thing. And in fact, our Honorable Prime Minister and Honorable Finance Minister in a lot of earlier budget speeches have already talked about entrepreneurship and Startup India, Stand Up India, and other programs, and Skill India as well. So entrepreneurship, I think, is the most important, and the Atmanirbhar Bharat concept and vocal for local is become most important aspect of the government. So we are also focusing on the same thing. So entrepreneurship is the focus for us also, but there are a lot of relevant skills which need to be considered. Say, for example, if you look at the 4th industrial revolution technologies, so those skills are important, because the art of 3D printing, or maybe AI, deep learning, machine learning, maybe blockchain, cloud computing. I think these are the skills that in the IT or IT related fields which are important, but they also have a lot of impact in other areas. Say, for example, marketing, retail, healthcare, livelihood. So there are a lot of applications in other areas as well. Agriculture is the important aspect where these technologies are used. That is most important. And then quantum is also coming. This year only quantum computing has got a lot of budget by the current government. So courses on quantum may be quite useful, and maybe that will nearly help. Then at the grassroots level also, we see connectivity is a major issue still in various places. So supporting maybe computer networks at the local area, local Wi-Fi community becomes important. In fact, I'll give you 2 examples what CSC is doing. One is the digital cadet concept. We have asked each CSC to enroll at least 5 local youth at the local level. So there are 3.75 lakh common service centers. So each each of these centers would basically enroll and employ five persons who are called as digital cadets. These cadets would basically help the particular CSC or help the local citizens in terms of various services. Like if a CSC is doing e-commerce, then this person would be a delivery man. If a CSC is doing education, then one of this person may be a faculty, maybe starting with small training courses. Then local level data collection also is very important, because a lot of institutions, even big organizations, corporates, are looking for local level data. And since data is the new oil, data collection becomes important, and a lot of projects and policies are dependent upon this data. So a lot of CSR projects are also coming, and it's very important that if you have right kind of data at the local level, you are able to kind of give that intervention that would actually empower the whole community, or maybe give you a successful project. So I think we are also focusing on data collection. CSCs are in fact doing the 7th economic survey. So we have trained around 1 million plus on enumeration of data. So that is the data collection. So I think data collection also becomes an important aspect, and that since the local people are involved, they get employed at the local level, and they are able to help. Then education and skill facilitators, a lot of projects are there in that scenario also. I think all these technologies will surely help in order to move ahead.
Definitely. And you rightly mentioned that data would be the next currency, or rather the next oil sort of a thing. And again, coming to the interventions that are being run in the space. So are there any particular interventions that the government or even CSC is looking to launch post-COVID, or currently in the coming few months for skilling?
Yeah, so there are certain new courses. As I mentioned, we are launching a lot of courses. Entrepreneurship is one. We have tied up with Indian School of Business to give a joint certificate on entrepreneurship. Then there are certain courses in finance and accounting, on GST, how to file a GST, basic finance and accounting, for which we have tied up with Tally Education Private Limited. Then there are certain courses in English speaking, because these are the demands from the local level. Then we are also trying to put in a course on quantum, as I mentioned. We have actually tied up with one of renowned professor and delivering a course on artificial intelligence through WhatsApp. So the whole course is delivered through WhatsApp. And that is an innovative idea. And there will be a lot of other courses also. We are supporting local level pre-primary schools as well, which we called Bal Vidyalaya. So this is the new idea. Then a lot of G2C services are in fact continuously going on. So CSC's more than 350 plus G2C services are there. In education space also, we are trying to improve, and entrepreneurship would be our focus, and skill development and education related activities would be our focus.
Wonderful. And that brings us to the close of the conversation. It was amazing hearing from you, Mr. Patangar, about how you're probably looking at quantum computing or even entrepreneurship as something of a skill that needs to be added to the local levels and the regional levels. And even the aspect that infrastructure is available, the only requirement is for us to tweak it in terms that are required, or even the way you're using WhatsApp as, I would say, a real institution rather than just a messaging app. It is. So thank you so much for joining us and giving us the insights that are really helpful for the society. Thank you so much.
Thank you. My pleasure. Namaste.